What's up, bosses? Welcome to the Truck Boss Show. This week, we talk about ATRI's operational cost study for 2020. Matt and Joey are showing us how not to use a CB, and Brad Kuhn wraps up his freight rates report. Let's get rolling. 2020 was a crazy year. It changed a lot for everyone. One thing that really changed is what we spend our money on, and that's why ATRI really wants to emphasize the 2020 operational cost study to show exactly how much money it took to run a trucking business during a pandemic.
Tell us about the 2020 operational costs survey and kind of tell us what you saw.
The cost per mile for 2020, and this is using calendar year 2019 data, was $1.65, and that is a decrease from what we saw in last year's report, so in 2018. Now, some of those decreases we expected. We knew the price of diesel in 2019 had gone down from what it was in 2018. The one that really surprised us, Carlin, was the insurance cost per mile. We've sort of reached a tipping point in the industry for what fleets can afford in terms of increasing premiums, and not being able to go higher, they're taking on additional risk through things like higher deductibles or self-insurance. Those are strategies that help you bring that insurance premium cost per mile down, but in the long run, you may be setting yourself up for even higher overall operational costs if you are in a catastrophic crash.
When you look at the operational costs of owning a business, doing everything, what is that one that you're always like, this is just going to be high?
It's either fuel or it's labor. To see the driver wage cost per mile go down surprised us. A lot of that compensation for driver to other types of compensation, like bonuses. We saw significant increases. And in fact, in the average amount paid in a retention bonus in this year's data collection, we saw an 81% increase in that amount over the previous year. Because fleets recognize we need to keep these drivers, so let's put in place these retention bonuses that help keep folks around.
What do you see happening in the next couple of years to kind of change things around? Obviously, as you said, with the retention bonus, that was a big thing. We want to keep our drivers, but what do you see changing to perhaps get more drivers and then, of course, help those operational costs?
I think we're going to see the driver wage and benefit cost per mile go back up because, again, continual need for good, safe drivers. And so I think we're going to see that cost go up again. With a new administration, we know that there is going to be a renewed emphasis, or at least they have said there's going to be a renewed emphasis on infrastructure funding. We know that there are states that are looking at tolls. We're seeing that play out in the data, that fleets and of all sizes are paying more in that toll cost per mile. I'm afraid we may see those costs continue to increase.
Are there people at the top, the Department of Transportation, the FMCSA, things like that? Do they specifically reach out to you to be like, hey, we saw your data, we want to know what we can do better to help maybe some of this stuff?
Absolutely. It is so gratifying to me when we see who is requesting copies of our report. So when you want any of our research, anyone can access it free of charge on our website. You just fill out an online form and it refreshes the page and you get a download of that report.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it, and I will let you go.
A huge thanks to Rebecca Brewster and ATRI. If you're like me and you love to learn about studies and data, go check out ATRI's revamped website. It has a ton of resources that you can easily get lost in. Now, Isela, what's next?
Last week, Matt the Little Guy talked about the importance of CB radios, and this week we find out if Joey knows how to use one. Let's check it out.
Bro, sound system in this truck sounds good. Oh, and you installed the CB too. Oh, sweet, bro. I didn't even see that. Hold on. Whoa. What are you doing? That is not... Stop. That is not how you do it. What do you mean that's not how you do it? Look, hello. This thing working? Audio. Oh. See, you're the reason why idiots like that on the CB... You that's not how you do it. What? Well, it's okay. If that's not how you do it, then how do you do it? Show me. When you're trying to make sure the radio works, you pick up the mic and you go breaker 19 radio check. Is this thing working? Is it on? Audio. Hello, breaker 19. Simple stuff, man. Breaker. What? What is this? 1960? What's wrong with just going? What's wrong with that? Because you sound like a friggin' imbecile. I don't know. Try it. Good. Try it. Good. See if it works. Good. Try it. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see. Hold on. Get ready. Hello. Is this thing working? Hello.
Sounds like you need a little bit of help there, buddy, mentally.
Yeah, you see what he said? You need mental help. Mental help. You keep doing what you. That's okay, Joey. You do you. I can't believe that guy. Did you hear what he said? I need mental help. What did I do? You know what? Forget this thing. Forget you. Have a nice day. Can't teach you anything. Can't take you anywhere. I tell you right now.
And those two, they crack me up. But Carlin, what do you have for us next?
If you've been keeping up with our freight rate report, you definitely want to check out our final piece. So Brad, take it away.
Deregulation disrupted the trucking industry and created a lot of opportunities. In our two previous segments, we talked about trucker operating costs and some of the market forces that have driven rates down over time. I wanted to wrap up today with a look at two very specific market forces that are top of mind for owner-operators: brokers and leverage. When deregulation opened up freight markets to new players, the number of trucking companies increased from less than 19,000 in 1980 to almost 1 million today. More than 90% of those new companies are small operators with only a handful of tractors or less. But here's the thing. That 90% accounts for fewer than 10% of all truck drivers on the road today. 90% of drivers work for someone else, and that means that most truck freight is being hauled by a relatively small percentage of companies that own a large number of trucks. And that right there is the fly in our pie. Shippers like to keep things simple. They want to reap the rewards of deregulation in the form of lower transportation costs that they can pass along to consumers, but they don't want to deal with 1 million drivers. They want to sign a contract with one trucking company or delegate sourcing to a broker or other third party. It was broker practices, specifically allegations of price gouging, that led truckers to camp outside the White House in April 2020, calling for a federal investigation. The Department of Justice has been investigating those allegations for several months now, but while there may be some unscrupulous brokers, the real issue here is one of leverage. Brokers that have agreed to deliver freight at a certain price are naturally going to try to find a driver willing to haul that at the lowest possible price. The price they negotiate is really their own business. That's the risk they take, betting they can find a driver willing to haul that load for a fraction of what they're getting paid. If yes, they make money. If no, they lose money. The only real leverage an owner-operator has is their decision to pass or accept on whatever rate the broker is offering. As a broker's deadline approaches, they're going to become increasingly motivated to find a driver to fulfill that contract and will increase the rate accordingly. That's what happened in the third quarter of 2020 when demand for drivers was high and 25% of the loads being offered on load boards were being rejected. Back in April, when loads were scarce, it was easier to find drivers willing to haul at or below their cost. The hard truth here is that drivers haul cheap freight because they need to eat or make a truck payment, and those immediate needs outweigh the long-term consequences for themselves and the industry as a whole. Freight markets are free and efficient, and the only free market solution to cheap freight rates is to reject them. For some, that might mean cultivating your own direct customer relationships or upscaling to provide premium services such as tanker or heavy haul. Or adding a side hustle outside of trucking to carry you through the lean months when you can't get the rates you want. The beauty and tragedy of the free market is that you have the absolute freedom to accept or reject a load. That's the only leverage you have. No broker can make you haul on the cheap, but only you have the power to say no. For the Truck Boss Show, I'm Brad Kuhn.
You know, if you missed any of Brad's report on freight rates, there we go. That's kind of a tongue twister. Tongue twister?
It is.
Hey, right? Anywho, if you missed any of those reports, you can always check them out on our YouTube playlist under news, and then voila, you can see them all.
And for next week, we have La Troquera B, Miss Brenda Arroyo, and Maya Sieber of Ice Road Truckers.
And we want to give you guys a huge thanks for all the support for our February Boss Box giveaway. We actually have the winner. Go ahead.
We do. His name is Michael Misikis. And Michael, I'm sorry if I messed that up, but, my Spanish wants to come out in there.
Sometimes, it happens. And don't forget, for our Boss Box giveaways, all you need to do is join the Boss Nation Facebook group, and voila, you can watch all of the videos that we post and enter to win. It's as simple as that.
That's simple.
And Nikki is going to be telling you all those awesome things that you can win, so be prepared for that.
And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And Carlin, why do we do this?
Because you're the boss.